Friends, today I want to invite you into a conversation about a topic that affects every one of us, not just theologically, not just intellectually, but personally and deeply. That topic is humanity's sin. And I know the word sin can feel very heavy. It's not a word we often use in everyday conversations. Yet when we look at our world with its wars, divisions, injustices, and heartbreaks, one question naturally always arises. Why is the world this way? Perhaps an even deeper question, why am I the way I am? Why do I struggle with the things I shouldn't do? So let's begin at the beginning. The Bible paints a picture in Genesis of a world created in perfection. Humanity lived in full relationship with God. No pain, no shame, no division. But then something happened. Adam, the first man, made a choice to disobey God. And in that moment, sin entered the world. Now you might ask, why should what Adam did thousands of years ago matter to me today? That's a fair question. Think of it this way. If the root of a tree is diseased, every branch that grows from it carries this disease. In the same way, Adam was the root of humanity. When he turned from God, that turning became part of our nature. Paul says in Romans 5:12, sin entered the world through one man, and death through sin. And in this way, death came to all people because all sinned. This means we inherited not only a tendency to sin, but also the consequences of sin. We are not sinners because we occasionally make mistakes. We sin because it is our nature. It's like a broken compass. It will always point in the wrong direction. Humanity's moral compass is broken. Have you ever noticed you don't have to teach a child to be selfish? You don't have to say, now Jed, when someone takes your toy, make sure you scream, cry, and say mine. No, we are naturally inclined towards self. That's not learned. That's inherited nature. So if sin is inherited, if it is woven into our nature, that leads to the next important question. What does that mean for us today? What is the condition of our human heart? In theology, they use a strong phrase, total depravity. Now, that doesn't mean people are as evil as possible. We still see kindness, creativity, generosity. What it means is that sin touches every part of who we are, our minds, our emotions, our desires, even our will. Paul says in Romans 3:10-11, there is none righteous, not even one. There is no one who understands. There is no one who seeks God. Do you hear that? On our own, we don't naturally move towards God. We move away from Him. Think of a car with wheels out of alignment. You can try and drive straight, but the car keeps pulling to the side. That is a picture of the human heart. We may want to do good, but our nature pulls us off course. Jesus said in Mark 7:21-23 that evil comes from within, from the heart. In other words, the problem is not just the world around us, it's the world within us. If humanity is basically good, then why does every society, no matter how advanced, still struggle with corruption, pride, greed, and violence? Could it be because the problem isn't outside, but inside? So if our nature is corrupted by sin, what does that mean for our relationship with God, with others, and with eternity? Since sin separates us from God, from a holy God, Isaiah 59:2 says, your iniquities have separated you from your God. God is perfectly holy, completely pure. Our sin creates a gap we cannot cross by ourselves. Imagine trying to jump across the Grand Canyon. Some may jump farther than others, but no one can make it across. In the same way, some people may seem morally better than others, but no one can reach God by their own effort. Sin damaged our relationship. It leads to jealousy and anger, division and injustice. The moment Adam and Eve sinned, they began blaming one another. This pattern has continued ever since. Have you ever found yourself saying something you didn't mean, hurting someone you love, and then wondering, why did I do that? This is the effect of sin. Romans 6:23 says, the wages of sin is death. Sin is not just a mistake, it's rebellion against God. And rebellion has consequences. Left unresolved, sin results in eternal separation from God. This is heavy. And maybe at this point you're wondering, is there any hope? Is there any way to escape this condition? And that brings us to the heart of the gospel. The doctrine of sin is not meant to lead us to despair. It is meant to lead us to Jesus. Just as sin came through one man, Adam, salvation came through one man, Jesus Christ. Romans 5:19 says, "As by one man's disobedience many were made sinners, so by one man's obedience many will be made righteous." Jesus lived the life we could not live and died the death we deserved. On the cross, he took our sin upon himself. Salvation is not something we earn, it is a gift. Ephesians 2:8-9 says, "For it is by grace you have been saved through faith." It is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. Imagine you fall into a deep pit with walls so steep you couldn't climb out. You try over and over, but every attempt fails. Then someone lowers a rope, not because you earned it, but because they love you. That rope is grace. Jesus is the rope. If salvation is offered freely, why hold on to pride? Why try to save ourselves when Christ has already done the work? Friends, the doctrine of sin is not just about understanding what's wrong with the world. It's about understanding what's wrong within each one of us. But it doesn't end in darkness. It leads us to the light of Christ. So I ask you, what will you do with this truth? Will you ignore it, hoping that brokenness will fix itself? Or will you acknowledge your need to accept the grace of God freely offers? Where sin abounds, grace abounds all the more, and that grace is available today. Thank you for listening, and may this truth not just inform your mind, but transform your heart.